The Stardust, our state-of-the-art autonomous mining vessel, groaned under the relentless strain of the Vesper debris field, an asteroid belt so dense that starlight barely pierced it. We were an expedition of 3. Commander Elias Thorne, a veteran miner with more scars than years, Dr. Eris Chandra, our xenobotanist, with her insatiable curiosity for all forms of non-terrestrial life, and Lieutenant Kale, the navigation and communication specialist, a man of few words and many nerves. Our mission, assigned by the Orion Corporation, was simple: to install and test the prototype, MeteorForge, a new autonomous ore processor designed to refine raw resources directly in deep space, transforming asteroids into valuable ingots. The MeteorForge was the future of space mining. But Vesper was a treacherous place, shrouded in a mystery that followed us like a shadow. Our first sign of trouble came from Kale's readings. "Commander," he mumbled, his eyes fixed on the monitors, "the MeteorForge is picking up something. It's not a mineral signature. It's organic. And it's coming from inside the target asteroid." The asteroid in question was an irregular monolith of rock and ice, notably larger than the others, and with a strangely smooth surface in some sections. As the MeteorForge anchored and began drilling, a subtle, almost inaudible hum started to reverberate through the Stardust. It was a vibration that seeped into the skull, a strange, hypnotic lullaby. Dr. Chandra, initially intrigued, became increasingly disturbed. "Scanners indicate there are vast internal caverns," she reported, her voice tight. "And there's growth. Spreading organic structures. It's like an ecosystem. But not one I recognize." I felt the suspense tighten. The hum in the air became more insistent, and I started having nightmares, dreams of biological labyrinths and a single, gigantic eye watching me from endless darkness. Then, the incidents began. Small glitches in the ship's systems. Flickering lights, fluctuating pressure readings. And worst of all, our oxygen supply began to deplete at an inexplicable rate. There were no leaks. When the MeteorForge finished its drilling, it sent an image from its internal camera. What we saw chilled us to the bone. The drill had pierced a wall of fibrous, damp material, revealing a vast internal space. It was not a geological cavern. It was an organic interior. We were inside a living being. The MeteorForge had drilled into a colossal alien creation, a space creature that had incorporated asteroids into its own body. And it was infested. From the organic walls, now visible in the images, small orifices began to open, revealing a greenish, shifting glow. From them emerged the horror. Countless beings that seemed like a fusion of insects and fungi, with chitinous exoskeletons and thin tentacles, crawled out. They weren't parasites, they were the inhabitants of the larger being. The entire creature was a single insect colony on an astronomical scale, an entity of alien life that used asteroids as its shell. The hum became a deafening chorus, a cacophony of thousands of unified minds, a space horror invading our thoughts. The ship was under psychic attack. Kale, the most sensitive of us, collapsed to the floor, convulsing, his eyes fixed on the screen where the infested beings moved. "They're getting in. Their song. It's the way," Dr. Chandra screamed, pointing at one of the viewports. "Commander. They're outside. They're climbing us." Small chitinous forms, glowing with a greenish bioluminescence, crawled over the Stardust's hull, their microscopic claws adhering to the metal. I realized then. The MeteorForge didn't just drill the creature. It awakened it. The hum was its awakening song, a call to assimilation. They weren't hostile in the traditional sense, they wanted to incorporate us into their body, into their hive mind. The cosmic horror was a forced fusion, a symbiotic nightmare. Our ship's navigation systems became disoriented, the holographic map of our position flickering with random coordinates. The asteroid creature wasn't just observing us, it was pulling us in, transforming us into part of its vast hive mind. The worst came when the figures on the walls began to move. Slowly, a mass of insects began to slide out of the structures, flowing down the corridors in black, pulsating waves. They were countless, each a tiny part of a larger entity, moving with a single mind. Cosmic horror took tangible form. We realized then that the thermal anomaly wasn't the cause. It was the effect. The creature wasn't an inert place, it was a gigantic incubation chamber of alien life. A hive mind that had entered stasis. Our drilling had awakened it. There was no way to fight a swarm of that size. Our only path was to try and seal the breach we opened. If the insect colony fed on psychic energy and consciousness, perhaps a concentrated pulse of counter-energy could force it back into its stasis. It would be an all-or-nothing thriller. With Lieutenant Kale incapacitated, the task fell to Dr. Chandra and me. The infested creatures had already penetrated the ship's internal walls, and I could hear them crawling in the ventilation ducts. The air grew heavier, with a strange smell of damp earth and something sweet and putrid. "Commander, they're on the lower deck." "Dar!" Chandra screamed back, pointing at a monitor showing the creatures crawling toward our control center. "Commander, they're on the lower deck." Dr. Chandra screamed back, pointing at a monitor showing the creatures crawling toward our control center. "Activate MeteorForge overload." I yelled back, my fingers trembling as I adjusted the final parameters. "All systems disperse their song." With a final roar from the reactor, the MeteorForge emitted its pulse. The ship shuddered violently. There was no sound in the vacuum, but a psychic and electromagnetic shockwave erupted from the Stardust, hitting the body of the asteroid creature at its core. The hum in my mind transformed into a sharp, painful shriek, then shattered into absolute silence. The creatures inside the ship stopped moving. The forms crawling on the outside shrunk and became immobile. The greenish glow diminished. The MeteorForge had forced the creature back into hibernation. The Stardust was damaged, but intact. Kale was unconscious, but breathing, his mind in forced peace. Dr. Chandra was pale, but whole. We managed to exit the Vesper field, reporting total equipment failure and an unusual spatial anomaly. No one at Orion Corporation needed to know the truth about the alien life that almost consumed us. Kale would never be the same. He was honorably discharged, haunted by a silence only he knew. Dr. Chandra became a recluse, immersed in her research on exotic ecosystems, but always with a glint of terror in her eyes. I continued mining, but now with a new purpose. I became a guardian, looking for any sign of the silent hum, any anomaly that might indicate the awakening of the MeteorForge. Space, once a vast void of resources, was now a place of unfathomable mysteries and dormant horrors. And the suspense of waiting became my eternal companion.